Hi, Cornerstone. Today's Cornerstone connection comes from James chapter 1. Just a few moments ago, I sat down in this chair coming from a time of prayer with our staff. We received a number of Connect cards this week where you all shared just some of the difficulties that you're walking through right now. There's all kinds of trials, some with wayward children, others facing sickness, others who have loved ones who are dying, and the list goes on and on and on. The fact is, we live in a fallen world. We experience pain and difficulties and trials, but yet we get to look to God in prayer and lift up our request to Him, knowing that He hears us and loves to answer in His goodness and grace and wisdom. You see, the church that James writes to was facing all kinds of trials. They were walking through difficult times. What they found was that being a Christian didn't make life any easier. In fact, it made life even tougher. Because after all, not only did they continue to walk through this fallen world, but they also experienced persecution for their faith. And the reality is that we are facing situations that aren't much different than them. You see, as we look over this book over the next few days, what we're going to see is these believers were facing temptation. They were facing a situation where people were showing favoritism and people were angry with one another and fighting and quarreling. There was a desire within some of them to get rich. There were other people thinking that they were more important than others, and others were receiving scorn and persecution from the world because they followed Jesus. What does James have to say to these people walking through tough times, just like you and me? Here's what he says in James 1:2. He says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you face or meet trials of various kinds." Now let's pause there for a moment. He said, "Count it all joy when you face trials." Has he lost his mind? Are we supposed to put a smile on our face when we go through difficult times? Are we really to consider it joy? Well, I don't think we really need to enjoy the difficult times, but the fact is we can face them with joy because we know that there is a God who loves us, cares for us, and is purposeful in all that He allows to come our way. And what we see here in James 1:3 is this. He says, "For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." The trials you face today are making you stronger. They're making you steadfast. The word perfect here means to be brought to maturity. They are maturing you and making you more like Jesus. You see, the fact is that there is a good God who is infinitely wise in all that He does. And the things that come to pass in our lives are things that grow us and mature us and make us more like Christ. We need to remember that as we're walking through those difficult times today. This all reminds me of weightlifting. I used to lift weights several times a week, and weightlifting can be a painful experience. After all, as you're exerting all this force, you're breaking down the muscle fibers in your body, and it hurts, and you leave that situation very sore. But over the course of time, your muscle fiber grows back, and it grows back even stronger than it was once before. And it's a bit like that as we go through trials in life. These trials shape us. They make us more dependent upon God. They cause us to look to Him in prayer. They mature us and make us more like Jesus. And so, yes, we can count it all joy when we face trials of various kinds. And so whatever you're going through today, maybe it's temptation, or maybe it's facing illness, or difficulties relationally with another person, I encourage you to persevere. Look to God, look to His Word, read over the book of James over the next few days, and be encouraged, knowing that there is a good God who loves you, is with you, who continues to speak to us through His Word and strengthens us through His Word and by His Spirit, and makes us more like Jesus.